everyone. We're going to be doing some gentle movement and stretching today. So please feel free to modify anything that you need to as we go along through the class. So we're going to start in a standing position just with the feet hip width apart here. We'll take a nice big breath as we bring the arms up. And exhale, releasing down. And nice big inhale, lifting up. And exhale. Good. One last time, nice big inhale, really lifting up with the arms. And exhale, releasing down. Good. Starting by taking the shoulders back and down, we'll just get some movement in the upper body, the upper back. Loosening up those spots that we usually hold tension. And then we're going to take that a little bit bigger using the elbows this time. So again, just little circles with the arm. And reversing direction. And then go ahead and move into the entire arm. So we're stretching all the way through. And reverse. Good. And then just shake out the arms. We're going to bring the feet a little bit further apart and taking a side to side motion. Just letting the arms swing from one side to the other as they wrap around your center. And then as our legs are in this wider stance, we're going to rotate from our hips, turning our feet towards the sides. Nice big inhale, lifting up, making sure our knees are going right over our toes. Good. And back down. Again, nice big stretch. Inhale, lifting up. And down. Good. And then we're just going to take a little lunge from one side to the next. So again, making sure our knees tracking right over those second and third toes as we stretch. And stepping out from side to side. And then let that settle you into a nice little shift. So we'll keep our arms out to the side, keeping that deep stretch here in through our hips. And just let yourself go from one side to the next. And we'll settle down to the center. You can place the hands on the knees if you feel comfortable there, or you can drop even lower, dropping the elbows into the knees. And coming back up. Good. We'll take that stretch over to one side again, and this time we're going to just take a nice big up and over stretch with the opposite arm. And continuing that to the front. So I'm bending both knees now. My arms are coming down. And I'm going to switch to the other side lunge. Again, feeling that really big stretch through the side of the body. And back to center. So we'll do this a few times. We'll reverse this time. So we have that side lunge. And take it to the center. Nice and slow, a nice contraction over with the upper body, side, and up. One more time each direction. Moving through the center, side, and up. And last time. And up. Excellent. Good. And just let the hands come down. We'll take the shoulders back and down again. We're going to walk our feet back in together here. So we're underneath the hips again. And just taking a little tread through the ankles, through the feet. Getting our lower body moving. Again, keeping both feet on the floor. So this next thing we're going to do is just moving through to strengthen the ankles and the legs. If you would rather hold on to something just for balance, feel free to do that. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be bending the knees. Again, making sure they're going right over our toes, lifting the heels, lengthening up, and then lowering the heels. So I'll show you from the side here. We have bending the knees, lifting the heels, lengthening up, and lowering the heels. So this is a nice little, again, exercise for your ankles and your feet. We'll go through that 4 times and then we'll reverse it 4 times to the other side. All right. There we go. And ready, here we go. And bend, heels, up, and lower. 2, heels, up, and lower. 3, heels, up, and lower. One more time. Down, lift, rise, and lower. Reversing, up, bending the knees, lower heels, and stretch. Up, bend the knees, lower the heels, and stretch. 2 more times. Up, and bend, heels, and stretch. 1 more. Up, bend, heels, and stretch. Good, excellent. So again, let's just go back to that treading of the ankles and the feet here. Good, and feet are back on the floor. Nice big inhale up, and exhale, release. Good. We'll take 1 foot forward, so it's just slightly in front of the other, and just take a moment to shift from 1 foot to the other this time. So I'm shifting from my back foot to my front. Again, just taking my whole body with me. Keeping the knees and the ankles soft. And you can take the back foot off the floor if you want to find a balance for a moment. And then we're going to keep the weight on the back leg. We'll take that front foot and just circle the ankle. So you're getting a little rotation through the lower leg, through the ankle. Again, keeping everything soft and gentle. You can reverse direction at any time. And placing that foot back through your center. Same thing on the other side. So starting with that rocking from heel to toe. Shifting from the back foot to the front. And if you would like to, you can take a balance by taking the back foot off the floor for a moment. And then keeping the weight on the back leg, circling the front ankle, foot. Really feel that foot massaging through the floor. And bringing the feet back together. So this next thing is, again, just kind of that same shifting of our weight. We're going to take one leg forward. We're going to shift to that leg, and then we're going to bring ourselves back to center. So we have a forward direction, then we're going to take it side, back, and side. So again, shifting your entire weight towards that leg as you step out. This you can modify how you need to. If you have just a little bit of space, again, you can just take that shift in the space you have. If you have a larger space that you're able to move a little bit more, you can take a larger step out. So you could take a really big shift and bring it back. Shift and bring it back. So again, just modify how you need to at home. And here we go. We'll do right leg, front, side, back, side. Then our left leg, front, side, back, side. And repeat that again. Ready? Here we go. And front. And center. And side. and center, back and center, side and center. Switch, front and center, side and center, back, center, side, and center. Good. One more time each side. This time, feel free to let your upper body go a little bit more. So maybe you want to add a little bit of the head, of the arms. It could be your own movement, but just kind of let that upper body flow in each direction. So one more time each side. And front and center. Side and center. Back and center. Side and center. Switch, front and center. Side and center. Back and center. Side and center. Good. And again, just finding your center. We're going to start with the top of the head. Let yourself release down. Shake out the arms. Keep your knees soft again. Here you can just feel as though you're a rag doll just hanging over the legs. Release the arms. If you want to turn the head from side to side, you can. You can also grab the elbows of the opposite arm and just let yourself feel the weight of the gravity pulling you down. And then we're going to release the arms, bend the knees, and just let yourself slowly come up through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Rolling up to standing, we'll inhale up with the arms and release back down. Great. So this next thing, we're going to start up with the arms and just let one arm release down. So you're feeling like you're being stretched in both directions. Again, if you want to sway back and forth, you can here. Just feel that. That arm that is up is then going to circle around, opening us back to standing. Again, the arms are going to come up. Release one hand down. Feel the weight of that arm. And a nice little bend to the knees as we circle. And release. 2 more times, bringing the arms up. Exhale down. Big circle. And release. Last time, arms coming up. And exhale down. And big circle. And release. Bringing the hands together, we're going to interlace the fingers, pressing up with the palms. If you want to take a side-to-side stretch here, you can do that. And then we'll exhale, let the arms come down and behind you. Same thing, interlacing the fingers. This time we're pulling away from our center. Dropping your chin. And go ahead and release the arms again. Great. We'll take a little stretch for our shoulders here, starting by one arm reaching across, bringing it closer towards your upper body. And switch, same thing on the other side. And release, and then take one hand behind your head. You can just gently hold onto the elbow here as you stretch through that arm. And release. Same thing on the other side, dropping the hand behind the head, hand at the elbow, and just gently stretching. And exhale, release. As we're in this wider stance, we're going to do the same thing with our roll down again, starting with the top of the head. Let the arms hang. Again, from here, you can shift side to side if that feels good. If it feels good, you can turn your head shake out the arms or grab the elbows. And then releasing the hands down, but you're going to walk yourself over to one leg. So we're just taking a little stretch over one side. And taking yourself back through center to the other side, just a gentle stretch over that leg. And again, back to center, rolling up as we bend through the knees, just nice and slowly through the upper body. Good. We're going to get the hips a little bit stretched out here. We'll do some stretches for that, and then move into some leg swings again to kind of loosen up in our hips and legs. So we'll start by taking just a gentle lunge to one side, making sure that your knee's not going past your toes. You want to make sure it's nicely aligned with your ankle here. Good. And just take a moment here. If you want, you can reach up and just let yourself settle into gravity. This is also a nice stretch if you were holding on to something to kind of get that back leg, the back ankle stretching here. And then we're going to exhale. You can straighten that front leg if you feel comfortable. Let yourself release over. If that's too much on the leg, feel free to keep the knees soft. Or you can also step in the back leg if it feels more comfortable in a smaller position there. Or closer position, I should say. And then bend that front leg again. We're just going to roll ourselves back up to standing and rotate to the other side. Again, just a gentle lunge here, wherever you're comfortable with for your own body. You have the option to reach up with the arms. Also the option to hold on to something and just let yourself press back in that way. And then we'll exhale over, letting that front leg straighten if you're comfortable with that. Again, feel free to bring in that back leg if it's better. And walking yourself back up. We're going to come to that center stance one more time like we did a little bit ago at the beginning of the class. And just take your shift once again. Hands can stay on the legs, can drop down lower if you're more comfortable that way. And then I'm just going to drop one shoulder across. So I'm getting this nice diagonal stretch here. And switching. And again, one more time each side. And back to center. Let yourself come back to neutral. We'll bring our feet back into the center here. Great. So we're going to do some what's called leg swings. And if you just think of where your leg is connected at your hip socket, that's where we want to be thinking of moving from. So I'm going to do a couple modifications that you can choose from on your own. You are more than welcome to hold on to something if you have a chair nearby, wall, anything that you want to hold on to. And we're just going to take the leg front and back. So instead of thinking of gripping up with the muscles, we want to just let that feel relaxed. Just a gentle lift from the front to the back. So again, modifications, we can just take a touch to the front and a touch to the back. Just think of sweeping across the floor. You can keep it at that low level. You can come a little bit off the floor, slightly off the floor. Again, just staying relaxed and not gripping in the hip. Or if you want to, you can go a little bit higher. Again, just modifying for yourself. This can also be done if you want to work on your balance. You can keep this in the center. Good. And then we'll do the same thing a couple times on the other side. So again, modification, you can keep this foot just dragging from the front to the back on the floor here. You can take it slightly off the floor. Or if you want and feel comfortable, you can take it a little bit higher, really creasing in your hip. And release down. Good. In dance, we do something called turn out. So if you're not familiar with what that is, that's where we're rotating from our hips. So right now I'm standing in a parallel position here. I'm going to think about where my leg is connected at my hip there, and I'm just going to rotate naturally from that position. So if natural for you is just slightly apart where your toes are pointed out, that's fine. If natural is a little bit wider, if you've been working on it for a while, you can also find your own turnout. If you have danced before and you know what I'm talking about, you can go into that. Otherwise, just take your feet parallel and just gently, naturally let them fall to wherever your position is. So with that in mind, we're going to keep that same image of the knees coming over the toes, and we're just going to take a few plies or bending of the knees. You can hold your hands on your hips. Again, you can hold onto something if you'd feel more comfortable that way. And just keeping the knees bent, keeping ourselves lifted and engaged in our center, and lengthening. Good. So you can go nice and slowly and lengthen up. And again, nice and slow, really feeling the muscles engaging and lengthening up. Good. One more time. And lengthen. Great. In this position, we're just going to take our foot, sliding it out to the side, and then sliding it back in. So if you were just going to draw a line continuing out from where your toes are pointing, that's the line that we're going to take our foot to and close back in. So we'll just switch back and forth from one side to the other. And as you do this, feel like you're lengthening all the way out through your feet. And one more time. Excellent, good. So we're going to take another swivel of the hip here. Again, please modify as you need to. If you want to hold on again, this is a great one to have some stability for. We're going to start by going to that point, or that tendu, as it's called in dance, and we're going to take our knee, we're going to turn it in, let it slide across, coming back out to that point, and close. So again, I'm in my rotated, turned out position. I'm extending out to my own corner. I'm rotating in with the knee as it comes across, figure eight back out, and close. So we'll just do that a few times on your own. Again, this is just kind of warming up the hip, moving through those muscles. And close. Good. Then you can rotate or switch to the other side. Again, if you want to hold on, that's fine. If not, you can stay out in the center. Extending out, knee bends as we cross over, Coming back out and close. Keeping this just nice and soft, nice and gentle. Another variation to make this a little bit more challenging if you're interested would be to take it out to the side, lift it, crossing over, extend out, and then close. So just taking it off the floor. Again, do whatever you need to do for yourself. And release. Good. And then let's rotate ourselves back to that neutral position. Go ahead, shake it out a little bit. Start down with one more roll down over the legs. And we're going to work our way down to the floor gently. If you need to get down in any other manner, you can. Otherwise, I'm going to be walking out to what's called downward dog. For those of you who have done some yoga before, you'll be familiar with that. But I'll face this way so you can see. Rolling down through my spine, I'm hanging over. And I'm just going to bend my knees slightly as I walk out to my downward dog. Step my feet back here. And just take a moment to adjust as needed. Thinking about lifting the hips towards the ceiling. Trying to press the heels down towards the ground. Get that nice stretch through the backs of the legs. And I'm pressing away with the arms. From here you can tread through the feet. You can either do this, or if it feels better to just stay there and stretch, you can do that as well. Hopefully you're not slipping like I am here. So go ahead and do whatever feels nice in this position for your own self, whatever it is that you need at this point in time. And then from here, we're going to lower down the knees and stretch back into child's pose. So just take a moment as we sit onto the heels, really think about letting the lower back release and relax, relaxing in the hips and just letting your arms rest. And as you keep your upper body over, go ahead and walk your arms to one side. Get a little side stretch. And back through center to the opposite side. And take yourself back to center. Take one more big breath here. And then taking your time, we're going to come to a seated position so that our legs are out to the front. I'm actually going to tilt this down. There we go. So we'll start with our legs forward. Sitting nice and tall, really lifting in your center, lifting through your spine and your upper body. Bring the arms out to the sides, lift them up, and then lengthening out and over the legs. Coming back to center and exhale, release. Take one side stretch over as we drop down to the elbow. And pressing yourself up and over to the other side. And back to center. Good. So for the next little movement that we're going to be doing, you can do a couple things. If you feel comfortable just keeping the legs crossed, you can do that. If you want to go into a butterfly position, you can do that as well. Or you could just keep the knees bent slightly and the feet flat on the floor. Again, whatever feels good for your own body at this time. I'm just going to do this from a crossed position here. We'll start with the arms out to the side. That same motion we just did as if we were coming down to the elbow, but now we're going to continue that motion to the front, to the opposite side, and back up. So just feeling this motion of continuous movement, going from one side to the next. Really lengthen through the spine as you go from one side to the other. And finishing one last time around. Great, good. And then just take a moment. You can relax the shoulders down, lifting through the upper body. Take a few breaths here. Wonderful, good. And then if you were not already in the butterfly position, we'll go to that next. Again, if this doesn't feel comfortable, feel free to cross, keep the legs out. Whatever feels good for your own body. Continue to listen to your own body. We're going to move through our breath, moving up as we inhale, and then contracting through our center and looking down as we exhale. So listening to your own breath and allowing that breath to initiate your movement. Thinking about that entire movement starting from the base of your tailbone and moving throughout the spine all the way to the top of the head. And bring yourself back to a neutral position. We'll take a forward fold over the legs. And back to center. Good. And let's bring the knees up towards the ceiling, keeping the feet on the floor. Just, again, hip width apart here. We're going to take the hands to the sides just for support and just slowly release your legs from one side to the next. So again, we're feeling that rotation through the hips. Just a gentle movement here. And then we're going to stay over to one side. From here, we're going to take that back leg and just scooch it back a little bit more here so your legs are both bent here. We're going to take a nice side stretch back away from the legs. And then coming back up through center. So just take this up and over. And back to center 2 more times. And last one, up and over. And then we'll keep our weight on this back hand here. Again, modify as you need to, but we're going to take some leg swings on the floor here with our back leg. So what we're going to think about is lifting this leg as we sweep it in front of us and then taking it back. So if this is something that feels good for you, you can let yourself just kind of stretch with it. Allow your upper body to move with it. If this is also something where it just feels good to maybe just keep that stretch to the front, you can. Or if you're more comfortable just extending, moving just slightly through the hip here, you can do that as well. So again, modifying how you need to. And then we're going to switch ourselves up and over to the other side. So starting with that stretch to the back, I have my hand placed on the floor and I'm going to reach up and over towards the back. And release. And back. And release. 2 more times. Last one. Taking that back leg, we'll go into the swings again. So if you're going into the swings, we have it front and back. My weight's on my back hand here. Front and back. Again, if you're more comfortable, just taking a moment of stretching either to the front or stretching, kind of rotating in the hip to the back here. Those are both great options. And bring yourself back to center. We'll keep both legs forward. And just take a moment where you're going to release over the legs. Let yourself fold down. And coming back to center, extending the legs forward one more time. Bringing the arms out to the side, and we're just going to take an oppositional stretch here. So I'm reaching the opposite hand to the outside of the leg, reaching back. And back to center, same thing on the other side, finding that spiral in the torso. And back to center and release the arms down, bringing the legs in once again. Good. We're going to roll ourselves over to a tabletop position. If this is hard on the knees, you can always just come back up or sit back down. And otherwise, if you're able to do this, we're just going to take some movement again through the spine as we look up and contract, moving through the spine, curving the spine as you exhale. Again, thinking about connecting all the way from the tailbone up through the top of the head. And you can continue that a few times on your own. From here, we're going to curl the toes under, pressing up to the downward dog once again. So the same way we got down, we're going to be getting back up. Otherwise, if you need to get up in a different manner, please feel free to do so. Tread through the legs once again. And then walking the feet towards the hands. We'll bend in the knees as we slowly roll up to standing. Continuing through with the arms. So take one last nice big inhale. And exhale, release back down. Thank you everyone for joining me. I hope you got a little bit of movement in there.